Hey guys, it's Ben with Myers Woodshop and Brian, and we are opening this box. This is a 60-watt Orion yellow and black laser. We got it on Amazon. It's also on eBay. I'll have links in the description below to buy it. We're going to see uncrate it and then put it together. So it's got these screws on the bottom. Yep. It's a 5/16.
Yeah.
Ah, that burned me.
Those are self-drilling. I want to save those.
I'll save them. Alright, so our assumption is we can lift it off after you get all those on the bottom off. We could be completely wrong. Nope, I'm right. Alright, let's lift it off.
Yeah, let's be, I mean, we better go straight up.
Yeah.
Wait.
You can go. Let's bring it to your right, left. Alright, so here's what it looks like on the crate. The little crate top just lifts right off. Looks like they stored all the peripherals underneath. It's covered here. It's got a note about if you're not satisfied, give them a call, contact us. It's got the correct Roida controller. That's a big part of everything. So we're going to go ahead and try to get it off the crate, and then we need to roll it back to my shop.
Okay, we're going to open this sucker up and see what's inside. There is a big, flipping, really heavy 6-inch duct right here, and that is rubber, and it feels quite substantial. There is already a reservoir packed in the back for the water, and here is the laser assembly itself on a rail that has lots of grease on it. There's a keychain here, got a couple of activation keys. I think this sucker opens up the back of it to where you can actually get to the tube. This thing is a registration thing to get the focal distance right on the laser itself. Alright, so in order to move it, we're going to remove everything down below. So we're going to take all the tube and the stuff inside. First we need to cut this little red ribbon that's holding it all. Stabilized with some classy red ribbon here.
Then we'll pull everything out slowly as to not damage that laser right there.
Guess it's going to have to slide forward. That's heavy. Careful. Oh, it's got all the stuff.
Yes, it's got a lot of things in it.
The reservoir we pulled out of there appears to have all the stuff that we attach, including water tubes, some wire, and this is the air pump. This is the water aquarium pump. Got a clamp for the duct and 2 more clamps down underneath.
It looks like we got one hose here, and then the other hose there, and then we have the air blower underneath. We'll get that out.
There's one more box underneath, and there's no way to get it out before we actually get the laser up off of it somehow. So it's going to be fun to lift 500 pounds.
So we have an issue. The legs are actually attached to the crate. So you're going to come in here the exact same way you did it with the box. And it's on all 4 legs.
Go.
Yeah, wait. Yeah. Sweet. You're not doing that by yourself.
Nope.
Almost didn't do it with two people. So we lifted up one side and the wife came out and pulled that out. Now we're gonna raise these legs up on all four sides and attempt to roll it through the back of the house into the shop. It's gonna be way easier to push. Oh, yeah, you got it now.
So, on the left side we've got control switches. This is labeled laser switch. This is labeled control switch. We've got a LAN port here for Ethernet, and there are what appear to be two USB connections here. One of them is labeled PC and one of them says U-Disc. I don't know if they're very different or not, but there are two clasps here for the lower. It turns right to loosen. Got to turn it right to open it. And here's the guts.
Alright, so here's the insides. We have a power supply and a power supply. I believe one is running the laser tube and one is running the rest of the electronics. We also have a 110-220. This is a 110 volt machine. So I'm in America and that's typically what we use, and that's what I bought. And there is a switch inside switching from 110 to 220. Just make sure that's switched correctly. Ours is set on 110, so that's just a double check. You have to take this whole piece off to get to it. It's kind of odd. Usually it's on the side. Then we have our controllers on either side of this. They have heat sinks on it, and then over here we have some other controller with all the USBs, network cables, and all this. They're just extended over to here. So it's really put together really clean inside. The wiring is really tight, easy access, really nice. So over here we have the USB, the two USBs and the Ethernet cable. Just make sure that you're plugged all the way in. The PC actually connects from computer to the controller board. U-Disc is actually USB disc, and then Ethernet, of course, is your LAN cable, your Ethernet. So just double check that these are all seated in case you can't connect. It might be this controller board inside.
Alright, we're going to open the top hatch, take a look, turn to the right to open, and there is the main chamber where you can see the side belt. Let's open up the top. And so it's mainly just a maintenance port for easy access.
You do have your Ruida. We have a Ruida controller that's up here. So there's access to that from down here if you change out the controller.
Alright, over on the left corner on the back, this is the main power input. It's labeled 110 volt, which is good for us. This is the grounding wire, which we don't necessarily have to use. These are labeled water pump, air pump. This is a universal switch plate or power plate, and it's recommended that we not use any of these. Not use them because the gauge of wire behind these things is not necessarily strong enough to prevent some problems. So we're probably going to leave these completely alone and just plug everything up into a wall outlet. Over on the right side, on the back, again, we've got clearly labeled, we've got a water inlet, water out, and air inlet also, and the clear hoses that came with this thing just seat right on there, and everything should connect pretty easily. Okay, we're going to crack open the bottom back of the box, turn to the right to open, and got the belt down on the bottom. I can see some of the hoses going to the air and water inlets and outlets here, some wiring access, and just the bottom surface. In the middle of the back, this is the pass-through port. You do not need the key for this. It's just going to open these clamps, fold down, and we got a lot of lateral room to work with here. It goes straight through, slightly down onto the interior surface, and I can see the pass-through on the other side.
All right, so we're going to open up the top. I'm taking our key again, which I cannot, to the right. Very important you don't lose this key. And here is the tube, the thing that makes everything else work. So we got the entire tube here. I ordered a 60 watt. We'll see if that's actually 60. And you can see where the water comes into it up here and cools it and then comes back out down through over here. Alright, so right here is where the laser will fire out of and hit this mirror and then bounce into that mirror and then come back out the laser. So these are the adjustment knobs right here to fine tune it. I have no idea how to do that yet, and I'm not going to change it right now because we haven't even turned it on. So we're going to see how it fires and adjust it later. But if you follow down the tube, you can see what it looks like coming down through here. And up here it has danger. It's got a serial, gives you a model number and a date. This is 11/19/2018, so it's about half a year old already, and it does not give a wattage on it, surprisingly. At least I can't see it. And here we go, we follow down to the end of the laser. This is where the water will start coming in, and all our power wires are too. So that's the main brain of the laser.
Alright, we're going to open the front access panel down on the lower part. Just like the back, you can see the belt down below, interior base. Above that, in the middle, is the feed through. Goes directly into the main chamber. The bed is right in there, so you can feed all the way through to the other side. The handle on the front folds down flush, which is nice. Comes up and opens up the top. And there's the laser compartment.
Alright, so we're inside the laser. So we have the honeycomb base. This is the laser itself. We also have the air assist down here. Now, air assist keeps a steady stream of air blowing on the cut area. That way you won't have fire, you'll just have a cut. There is a lot of goop along these rails, so don't touch them because it'll end up on your hands, but that keeps everything rolling linearly along the rails. You also have your laser mirrors here and here. There's more adjustments through all of that. Alright, so we're going to come over here, and there's a knob here, and this is how you raise and lower the cut bed and the cut height. So some have manual adjustments and some have automated buttons. This one is a manual, so it'll just raise and lower up like that. And then along the back we have an LED strip to light everything up as we're cutting. One downfall up here on the screen is that they put a protective coating on the outside on both of these to see inside. So we actually have to take off all of these screws to these brackets and peel off that protective coating so we can see inside. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And also, certificate of laser equipment. Certified by GJ70 12/5/2018. So it does have a serial number. That's just a sticker located up here, and I can't read it because it is scribbly, but if you're looking for a serial, it's up in that corner. So here's what's included in the zippered package that came in that box. So we have an Ethernet cord. This is the ideal way to hook up your laser. We have a power cord, it's a US plug, standard computer power cord. So if you lose these, really easy to find. We have a USB to USB. This one will hook into the USB of your computer. This one will hook into the USB of the laser. A CD with a bunch of files and drivers and the instructions on there if you have a CD player. You have electrical tape that is white. It looks like double-sided tape, but it's electrical tape. It's odd that it's white. Usually it's black. You have a set of Allen keys. Clearly they're in Chinese. There's your Allen keys. You have something. You have something that I don't know. I can't read what that is. It's all in Chinese, but it does say down here, silicone adhesive sealant. Not sure what that's for. Let's open the box. Maybe that'll give us a better idea. 704. Nope, don't know what that is. Silicone adhesive sealant right there. And then finally you have an instruction manual that tells you how to adjust the laser, how to plug everything in, how to operate the panel, the reader controller, set the layer stuff, software, how to use the software, data check, tips and tricks. It's not terrible English, so that's a positive. So there's everything that comes in that bag of things. What is it? Everyone wants to see.
Alright, here's our aquarium water pump. When we took it out of the box, this was here. It appears to be a regulator switch of some kind, but we took that off because the diagram showed this filter plate on it. And now we can't get the filter plate back off, so we're hoping it actually belongs there. So, switch is off now. We've got this little guy looks like he goes there, and then we've got this clear tube with some sort of plastic thing on the top of it, and the diagram shows that tube connecting here. We think this is what it looks like right side up, because this tube is supposed to go up to the surface of the reservoir. So I'm going to go ahead and put it in the reservoir. Alright, pump is in the water. We're going to take the hose from the water inlet. We're going to attach it to the pump down here. This little housing, this little attachment. And it is going to fight us for a minute. Okay. It's not going to be super deeply seated on there, but hopefully that is going to cut it. We'll attach this back directly onto the pump. Alright, now we're going to take the water outlet hose, and all we do with that is put it in the reservoir, because that's the return water from the laser back into the reservoir. Alright, so here's the air pump. We've got the little brass fitting on the end of it, and all we're going to do here is take the hose labeled air inlet, and we're going to attach it to that brass fitting on the end. I'm going to seat that thing as deeply as I can. My hands are wet, so it's kind of going to be tough. But at least past those first two ribs on the connection. Okay, so since the air pump and the water filter have no on-off switches, you just plug them in and they're activated. And since we are not in fact using the switch plate on the back of the laser itself, because people tell us that is a terrible idea because that plate sucks, we're just going to plug it straight into this. We're going to have a switch plate with an actual switch on it, so that we can switch on and off the pumps at will, instead of just having to plug them and unplug them every time we want to use them. So that's the plan for now. Alright, well, we're going to plug in the water pump and see what happens. We can see water lines on both ends of the laser, and a length of line all the way along it. And we're not really sure what route the water is going to take, but here goes.
Be ready to immediately turn it off.
It is filling the laser tube completely with water. And let's see if it looks like the water is coming out the outlet tube, and it's now feeding back into the reservoir. So it appears we have a continuous flow of water out of the reservoir into the laser tube and back into the reservoir. It looks like it's working. So here's the air pump. It's connected to the laser with this hose. We're just going to plug that in.
You can see the air line runs through here. I'll lift this up so you can see that it's blowing out here. That actually blows on while it's lasering. It's called air assist, so it keeps any fire from happening. You don't want fire, you just want cutting. So that's a really nice feature, and it's working well.
There's some protective film covering the control surface here. Let's take that off. That's nice. So this is the emergency stop control switch. When it is depressed, nothing is going to get done. You have to turn it and pop it out, and then the laser will actually work. Alright, we're going to switch this sucker on, and then we will have a perfect storm of lasers, water, and electricity. Here we go. this laser dot is not actually the cutting laser. It's coming from right here, and it's just a registration laser. It's showing you where it's going. What we had to do was tilt this thing. It's on a little axis. There's an Allen wrench that goes in here, and as you raise and lower the plate on the bottom, you'll see it's going to line up and show you where the laser goes. So what we had to do is put this thing at where we figured was the right distance, put this where it belonged, and then here's the calibration piece, and that's just going to go right between your actual engraving surface and the laser head. So about right there where it starts to not move. So we're a little off, so I'm going to loosen this thing and try to get the laser pointer where it belongs now that we're at the correct distance. So that's about where we need to be. I'm going to tighten it again, try not to throw it off, and just eyeballing it, it looks like that's where it needs to be, right there.
Alright, so now we're going to open the centrifugal blower that came with it. This will go from the blue tubes, and this will go in between that, blow out all of the fumes from the machine out of it. So we'll see how big it is. This one's pre-wired for 110. It already states that someone hand wrote it on the back. That's all there is to it. Nothing else in the box. All it's going to do here is we'll plug in a blue tube over here, plug in a blue tube over here. I'll suck it in and blow it out to the outside. So I'm going to stick a duct on the side of my shop wall, cut a 6-inch hole. This is a 6-inch tube. Put that duct there, run the blue tube to it, and we'll vent everything out to the outside. Let's get to it. So what I really want to get to is to see how loud this thing is. Because I'm in the hot Arkansas summer, my air conditioning is going, I'm not going to turn that off. But I'll move it over here and plug it in. There's no switch, as far as I can tell, to turn it on and off, so let's see. And it's ridiculously loud. It's louder than my vacuum system in the shop for wood. So if you're running this quietly, don't even buy this. This is way too loud, holy cow. So one more thing I did buy that did not come with the kit is this power surge protector. Since we're not using the plugs in the back, I need something to power everything up. So I'm going to put this monster power surge on the side of the machine where I can easily reach it, because it's going to be tucked in next to my CNC in a wall. So I need it kind of on the side front. I'm going to tuck that in, that way I can flip one switch and know if it doesn't work, it's because nothing here is actually on. This is metal for power tools, grounded. It's fireproof because I don't want this thing to catch on fire. So I'm going to attach this to the side, plug everything into it, plug it into the wall, scoot everything back, and then I should be able to start burning. So there's the exhaust port, there's my hose. I need to get it outside somehow. So what I did was cut a hole through the wall right under the window, and outside is a soffit vent, even though it's not in the soffit, because those are the only 6-inch vents there are. It's a spring clip, so when there's pressure this way, it opens up and pumps it all out. So that's how I've done my vent. Here is where I mounted that switch for all the stuff. I actually took these two screws out, took this plate off, took the back plate off of the electronics back here, drilled 2 screws. So it's actually screwed through inside onto there so it won't come off. So that's going to hold all of the power. That way I can just reach over from the laser and give the master power to everything and master power it off. Alright, so we're talking about the extraction hose on this, that huge Chinese job that it comes with. Right now in my shop, if I don't talk, this is a decibel level. We're at ambient 45. I do have a 3D printer going on over there, so you have a fan. So let me turn this fan on so you can see the decibel level. It is very loud, but let me plug it in. You can see we're hitting about 80 on that one, and that's just super loud to be around and annoying. So there's an aftermarket one that a lot of people get. It's a growing one. It's an inline fan. You can see the size is significantly smaller. It also comes with a mount, so you can mount it on a wall or something like that. So I'm going to plug this in so you can hear what this one sounds like as opposed to that one. So this is full blast. We're hitting about 77, 76. Although the decibel is still not huge of a jump, just audibly. It's a lower tone, it's way quieter, it's more efficient, it's smaller, and it uses less energy. So that's what we're going to use. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to use this yourself. So there we go. We've had our unboxing, installation, and first cut of our Chinese 60-watt laser. This is the Orion Motor Tech black and yellow. I believe the red and black is the older version. The yellow and black is the updated version. I'll leave a link to that in the description below so you can click on that and check it out. Came really fast, freight truck with a lift gate from Amazon. When you're buying a laser, make sure you know what controller you're using and the software you're going to use. I highly recommend Lightburn, and that uses a Ruida controller. I would probably stick with one of those. You can tell by the picture. If yours looks like the one I have, you know you're going to get the correct one with the Ruida controller. So I hope that helped you out deciding if this is right for you. So far, a month into it, I have really enjoyed it. Everything has worked really well. And I'm going to come out with more videos on how to align the laser, focusing, the add-ons that I've put onto it so far. So check for those in my other YouTube videos. Until next time, happy cutting.